very welcome to a new tutorial in a series of tutorials for the Lampy console. In this tutorial we will talk about the multifunction fader mode for scenes. In scene mode, the fader and button function are user definable. Scenes itself are very comparable to playbacks or executors, but they may only contain one cue. In case the faders are in a different physical position than the actual value of the fader, the faders that are different from the actual value will have their LED blinking as an indicator. The fader values from before are remembered, and you have to move the fader physically to the new position in order to catch up. The LEDs in this mode will light up in blue. For scenes that are running, the LEDs will be shown brighter. First, let's switch the multifunction mode to scene. You can do so by clicking on the multifunction mode button until it reads scene. Alternatively, you may press the shift key and hold it pressed while you click on the multifunction fader mode button and select scene directly from the dialog that pops up. Let's record a first scene. I usually like to use scenes for brightness of fixtures. So let's start by doing this. Let's select our backdrop fixtures. Let's select the backdrop fixtures and set the dimmer value to 100%. Now press the record key on the front panel and click on the button of the multifunction fader. Let's enter a name. I will call this one spots back. Let's clear the programmer and repeat this process for the mid-truss. Let's also repeat this process for the floor fixtures. Now, whenever I move the fader of a scene up and down, whenever the fader leaves the 0 value, this scene will become active, and when I slide the fader back to 0, the scene will turn off. However, you can define this behavior in the settings. The settings for each scene are accessible by pressing the Edit button, followed by the Scenes button. The console will show us a dialog that is very similar to the playback settings dialog. We can define the fader function. For multifunction fader scenes, by default it is in fade. We can define if the fader should be auto start or auto stop. We can set the button function, and we can set a fade time and an off time, as well as auto off other effects. When auto off other effects is turned on, effects that are output by other playback scenes or executors will be turned off in case there's an overlap in functions. Additionally, we have a load values button on the bottom of this dialog, which will load the values of the scene to the programmer. You can always have the names of the faders displayed in either an external monitor or by clicking on the menu button and selecting the fader overview. Scenes may not only contain intensities, but they can rather contain anything you want. So you can also store effects into scenes. Let's just do that with our moving lights. Let's select all of our moving lights, go to Effects, click on the magic wand, click on Add Effect, and add a dimmer wave. Let's change it to be a little bit faster. Change the grouping to 5. Now press the record key on the front panel, followed by the desired multifunction faders button. Let's clear the programmer, and now whenever we move this fader down and up again, the effect will start running. You can copy scenes at any time by pressing the copy key on the front panel, clicking on the source multifunction faders button, and then on the destination multifunction faders button. You can also copy scenes from a multifunction fader to a playback fader. You can also move multifunction fader scenes by pressing the Shift button and keeping it pressed, and pressing the Copy button on the front panel. Then select your source and your new destination. Should you wish to delete the multifunction fader, you can do so by pressing the Delete key and the multifunction fader button. You can also turn off running scenes simply by pressing the Off button and the Scenes button as well. Should you wish to rename a multifunction scene, press the Name button, followed by the Themes button. To modify values in the scene, simply program your new values Press the record button and select the existing scene. A dialog will be opened asking what you would like to do. You can either remove the current programmer content from this scene, you can overwrite the scene with the programmer's content, or you can merge, that means add or update, the content that is in the scene. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Keep learning and experimenting with your Glampy console in the meantime, and I hope to see you again next time soon.